And I asked women if they knew a woman who had left her village for work, and they always said no. They had just never heard of it. If you never see a woman leaving the village, if you never hear of it, then you may not even consider it. It's possible to have very gender equal villages, and I was in small town Alabama, lots of women were working, respected, fathers playing with their kids, so it's not impossible. But in parts of sub-Saharan Africa, in the Middle East, North Africa, or in South Asia, we tend to see much stronger knit, close-knit policing. Very strong policing of people, and that feeds into what we were discussing before about the interdependence. So where you rely on other people, you're much more sensitive to the ostracism. So like I was saying before, you asked me, oh Alice, don't you care about if people say something negative about you? Well, I've got a certain degree of independence, right? Yes. I've got some economic independence. So even if one group dislikes me, it's fine, I've got other friends. So it doesn't matter so much if you have this dislike from one section of society, because I can always find other people who are very nice to me and who will support me. That doesn't happen in the village. In the village, there's one group that tends to be more socially dominant, and if they ostracize you, then you're out. So it's not just about whether you're ostracized or not, but what are your exit options? How many other groups are there? So in villages where people are very economically interdependent, where they rely on each other for mutual insurance, then you need to be very, very concerned if you're ostracized. And moreover, in very poor places, there's much higher economic interdependence. Secondly, in those very poor places, there's less exposure to media alternatives. So whereas in the English village, someone might still have basic security and be able to watch a lot of diverse media that could help them see things differently, in an Indian village, there may be less of that exposure to international heterogeneity. And even if they did see it, they would still be reluctant to rock the boat. So I think for the most part, it's very, very difficult to stimulate change in villages. And actually, last year I went to many Indian villages in the state of Bihar, which is in northern India. It's incredibly patriarchal, so women veil, they rarely work. The rate of female labor force participation is about 6%. So it's one of the lowest rates in the world. And I asked women if they knew a woman who had left her village for work, and they always said no. They had just never heard of it. So it's not like Sao Paulo, where you see all that diversity, you see so many different things going on. If you never see a woman leaving the village, if you never hear of it, then you may not even consider it. Moreover, if the one woman who does leave the village suffers a big negative shock that everyone speaks badly about her, oh, well, I bet she went to Delhi and I bet she did this, oh, and she's probably a very bad woman, then it doesn't have any kind of role model effect because all people hear are these negative stories. So in these close-knit societies, men depend heavily on their jati, that is their kin. They're concerned for mutual insurance, so no one wants to rock the boat. So it's like a collective action problem that no one family wants to stick their neck out because then they'll be ostracized. So everyone conforms, but then no one ever sees anyone rocking the boat. So they all think, oh, well, everyone's going to judge us negatively. And actually, there may be a misperception there. So there's this very nice research in Latin America and worldwide called misperceived gender norms, and they find that people actually tend to underestimate men's support for female employment. And that's going to be much, much higher in villages because you're never seeing anything different, right? And you're very, very concerned about social approval. So you never see anything different. You really care what other people think. And so you just go with the flow. So you get locked into this homogeneity. You get locked into this negative equilibrium whereby nothing changes. So that's why in cities we see much more rapid social change.